Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD Securities webinar. Tonight's webinar is live forex market review. So let's get into that in a moment or two. Before we do, if you can read through the disclaimer, that would be great. If you're on our YouTube live stream, I'm not able to see the chat, but you're more than welcome to join us. I've given you a link there to come and join us. For those in the webinar, if you have a question, just use the webinar chat or the question and answer box. So I'll just give you a moment or two to read through the disclaimer. All right, we'll move along. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor at AUSUSD Securities, and I am a full-time forex trader. I've been trading the market now for more than 15 years and mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me about the webinars, then my email is there on screen, duncan.cooper@acy.com. And through the week, you can connect with me at our website, acy.com Market News tab, at our YouTube channel, AUSUSD Securities Australia, or you can connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn. There are my handles there. And through the week, our analysis is being put through our Telegram channel. There it is. If you want to get access to it, just contact Nathan.bray. I'll put his details in the chat momentarily. If you want to get access to our chartlets and templates for MT4, the ones that I'm using anyway, then just contact Nathan. He will help you out and set you up there. Now, I believe Nathan's still on holiday, so he may not be back till Monday. So if you do contact him, just give him a little bit of time to get back to you. We'll just put his details in the chat. There we go. All right, so let's get into tonight's webinar then. If I can just get my PowerPoint to, that's it. All right, let's have a look at the news come out first of all. All right, so we're into Thursday. So we have had the US FOMC meeting minutes come out early in the morning, and they were a little bit what we call hawkish, potentially presenting the idea that maybe more interest rate rises are coming down the track. So that's US dollar positive. And then we had the Aussie unemployment change and unemployment rates. They came out a little bit worse than expected, which has driven the Aussie crosses down. And then tonight at 10:30 p.m. for the US, we have our unemployment claims. And then not much more for this week. It is maybe worth just having a look at what's coming out next week. We've got the flash manufacturing services data on Wednesday for the euro, the pound, UK, and the US there. And then not too much after that. No major news announcements next week. All right, the heaviest day there is on Wednesday. All right, so it's good to know it's coming out over the coming week. All right, so tonight then we just got the US unemployment claims coming out. That can most definitely affect the market if it doesn't print in as expected, if there's a significant change to what we're expecting. All right, with that in mind, let's get to the charts. Now we'll start with the dollar index. Now we are trading, I've been discussing this range. This is a range of last month. This is a day chart. We have traded above there. So in actual fact, then if I get rid of that fib and just drop to the monthly chart, whilst this monthly trend is down, we are having a month up. So we are getting some form of strong rejection down here on monthly support. And it is a little bit suggestive that we could be trading up to maybe the top of the range. Now, it is worth noting that we do have some highs to the left here, where we've been rather consolidatory before breaking down. 2 monthly highs here to the left, so it's worth having them on the chart, 103.823. Because if we see the market hold, that's why the market's going to be holding, it's respecting those highs. So we're just a fraction short of that one just there. Now the weekly trend is potentially turning up. If we get a good close this week above that high, we potentially change in trend, and we could be moving up to the top of the range here, 105.69. So the next, I would say, 2 trading days will be interesting to see what price does at such a high level. Of the bigger range that we formed, we are at the 79% level of that range. So there's things going on here that could technically make the dollar index halt here. There's that weekly high, 79% fib. Just above it is those 2 monthly tops. So we could top out here. So if we do see a couple of negative days, then maybe we're getting a reversal. And when we get to the euro dollar, you'll see we're really getting to the bottom of the range of the euro dollar as well. So we could be due a little bit of reversal. We'll have to wait and see. To the S&P 500. Now it has dropped below the significant level of support that I've been discussing. So this is certainly getting a little bit more into bearish territory. And from a weekly perspective, we are failing at the 79% of this significant overall rundown into the 2022 low. So are we actually topping out here? From the weekly perspective, yet we don't have a lower top or a lower bottom. So that's going to be a lot of weeks ahead to determine that. But the day chart is most definitely showing you lower tops and bottoms. So if this day chart's going to hold its trend now, it should hold below this top. And if you draw a fib from that lower high down, keep dragging it down to low if a new low forms. And you can already see that the 62 level overlaps perfectly with the level of support broken. So if we do form a low here and come up, that would be the level to watch at 44.60 to 44.62. That could be a very good seller's level for a continued decline. Okay. All right, let's get into, first of all, get into the euro dollar. Now, we have been holding over the last couple of weeks at the 109.43 level, but this week we've broken down. That was Friday's close. We could actually close on top of the level, but then Monday, Tuesday, we started to form the highs of the day at that level, trading down Wednesday, trading down today. Now, I've been looking to see if price can come back up to 109.12 now. This level of broken support. Very key level of support down here at 108.33. It's a weekly level. There you go. So the weekly structure is still up at the moment, unless we break this low, which we could be. And as I was saying with the dollar index being at the top of its range, we're getting down to the bottom of the range here on the euro dollar. So it's not a given that this level will break. It's not a given that we'll actually get down to that level, but we are in a downtrend here at the moment, so we may well come down and test. So if you're looking for an opportunity to sell, you always want to look to sell a rally. So this is the area. I put this out on Telegram earlier in the day, but for our trends down here, so look to sell a rally, and 62 levels at 109.06. The day resistance is at 109.12, and if we drop it to the 50-minute chart, then we may only just come up to the area I put out this morning was 109.12 down to 109.00. We have a 62% level in there as well, but you can see yesterday's trading intraday, yesterday and the day before. Really, so this is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Tuesday, we were getting support at the 109.00 level into Wednesday, but more support here, but then we broke below and it became resistance here. So I would expect 109.00 up to 109.12 now to be resistance. So I would just be watching that level. That would be the best level to look for a sell. Selling too close to the bottom of the day isn't the brightest, I don't think. Looking for the opportunity to sell at a higher level would be great. So we could definitely get up to 109.00 today. We're only 31 pips away, and we've got the US news coming out at 10:30. So I would be looking up here if we can get a rally for an opportunity to sell on a setup. Euro yen, let's just drop to the day chart. We are getting a little bit flat up here. This 158.59 level that we are managing to see on top of, we broke above this weekly resistance area, and this is a weekly resistance area too that we've moved above. You'll need to go to your weekly chart and squash this in, and you'll find an old low over here back in 2008, I think it is. But if we are getting up to, go to monthly chart, we are getting up to very high levels. This was, the GFC decline. So we're getting up to, the GFC levels before the decline. All right, so to the day chart, we're on an uptrend. Okay, we have managed to move above that weekly level, 158.59. That's the level to watch at the moment. Is that going to further offer support? You can see here at the moment on the 4 hour, it is getting a little bit flat. Just struggling. That's last week's high. You can see every time we get up to last week's high, that red line is last week's high, which is 159.21. We are struggling to get above that level. All right, so looking for a pullback. 158.59 is the weekly level that we've moved above. Would be the area to look maybe for the opportunity to trade back up in line with the trend. All right. Now, whether or not price will do that, you'll have to monitor. Just have a look at the 15-minute chart. I just want to know where the last 4 hour low was. I just want to draw a fib across this range. I'll not move up. So that's the 4 hour low up to the current high. And the 62 level here at 158.84 does overlap with some intraday supports. I like that 79% level better. There's a lot more support here intraday that formed before moving up. But in a perfect world, down at 158.59, the weekly level that we've broken above. You can see how spiked in and then couldn't quite get down after that. So buyers are clearly watching this level now that we've moved above it. All right, so watching the lower levels there within that range. Overall, we are in a day chart trend, a weekly trend, a monthly trend there. So, not really going to try and go counter trend, but we are getting a little bit range bound. So I will definitely be watching, if you've got the patience, watch the 79% level down to support. 158.72 down to 158.59. That's the area, because you can see where we got support last time here to move up. All right. All right, euro pound. As I was saying on Tuesday, from the monthly perspective, we're in a downtrend here. We have traded below that low, and we've had a month up and a month down in the previous month, and we traded up within inside the range of last month, held, and we could be trading down now to a further decline. It's not in a great area. We're on top of weekly and monthly support at the moment. That's monthly support, 85.47, and weekly support, 85.65. All right, well, we're putting in a little bit of a lower top here. A little bit of a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, maybe a fair forming there too. More prominent on the daily there, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, but we're on support here. So I would need some more price action, I think, to come in, because now that we're on support, we could trade back up, but that would be against the trend that we're seeing on the chart. So you can see how choppy it's been in this area. So when you're looking at a pair to trade, you can't just expect something to break into a trend if it's been showing choppiness for several weeks. All right, you need to see a trend there before you can, say it's going to be in a trend. So there is a potential here on monthly support, if you want to go counter trend, that this could be support to trade back up. So, we're on support. The 4 hour trend here is still down. So we're not seeing any shift in trend. Trading with the trend, you could just monitor the range of the current 4 hour move down. Look for a 62% to 79% retracement. But if we do see a 4 hour shift in structure to the upside, we could well be false breaking this area here And we could see, you know, if we move back to the daily, I'm just going to draw this fib from there across that whole range. We move back to the daily, we've actually moved down to a lower bottom. So we may need a deeper rally at the moment to 62 to 79 up here. So, you know, we're in support area here at the moment. When we're in the support area, we can rally back up. Doesn't mean the trend's going to change, but we're just going to rally back up within the fib range before we put in a lower top to move down. So I would still be, I'd be cautious going short down here at the moment. This is overextended into the buy zone where support has been shown. So look for some kind of pattern like so to form on the day chart. A rally back up, lower top maybe to move down. All right, let's get into the pound dollar. Daily. Earlier in the week, I was suggesting maybe we're forming a double bottom here, but you can see on the tops of these two trading days, the last two trading days, that we've got shadows or wicks on those candles. We're not seeing this strength unfolding from the potential of that double bottom. So at the moment, it may be a little bit more suggestive that this could be a lower top for me for at least another test of these lows. All right, it's rather range bound, so it could go either way. Let's just drop to the 4-hour chart. So if we draw a fib from last week's high and we move below last week's low, so we're having a down week, then we have retraced in between the 62 to 79% of that range. So we could well be, you know, we've moved down. We've had a bounce on support, but we haven't been able to see very strong price action really. And we could well be mapping out a move that looks something like that. All right. Now, where price is right now, we're getting, you know, relatively close to 126.79, which is the weekly support that we've been holding on. So we could be moving in that kind of direction, with the caveat that 126.79 has been strong support. So price could, you know, trade down in that direction, or you could be watching weekly support to keep holding as support. I did put out on Telegram the other day when I started to see maybe this was a double bottom, that let's go to the daily. Some support here at 126.79. That's that weekly top there. There's another day chart low there. There's this little area here where we got support. Then we drop down. We could be forming a little to the 4-hour chart. This could be kind of a left shoulder. This could be a head. And we could just drop down into this area. So left shoulder, inverse head, and then draw a fib across the range. 62 level is at 126.73. Your weekly support's at 126.79, and this is at 126.66. So this whole area here could most definitely offer support, and we could actually see some form of a head and shoulder pattern form in this area. Been support for the last 2 or 3 weeks, as you can see, until we spiked down this week. The week before we were holding here, spiked down, running back up. So rather range bound, we could actually move either way on that pair at the moment. So the inflation figures that came out this week for the UK CPI data was a little bit higher than anticipated. So I'm sure we're going to get more hawkish, maybe interest rates from the UK. So if we continue to see 126.79 tested and it holds, that's the level to watch to the upside. All right. And in general terms, I'm tending to favor more the upside, but you know, this move up here hasn't been that strong, so it could go either way. We'll just have to wait and see, but you could most definitely watch 126.79 for support. Pound yen has been very strong. Wouldn't be looking to buy it so high up here. What I can see is we've moved up from this low to high. Then we pull back, then we moved up. So this is actually overextended. It's actually longer than this move up. And if I drew a fib across to show you where the extensions are, we're beyond the 127 extension. That's not where you want to be buying. Doesn't mean to say that the trend is going to change from a day chart perspective, but we're probably due a pullback. So I'll be waiting for a pullback here. So, looking at drawing a fib across the new range that's been forming and see how the fib overlaps. Nothing really overlaps nicely in terms of the 62 to the 79% level. So that doesn't really tell me anything. From a pure support and resistance, we've obviously moved above this weekly top. So really, if the buyers are truly in command, that level doesn't really want to break. If we break that level, then we're moving down to 183.24. All right. And really, the buyer should be holding it there. So I would be watching at the moment for a pullback because it's way too high up to be a buyer. Don't want to sell it because it's in a clear, strong trend. So waiting for a pullback to occur, watch 184.00 for support there. Okay. So obviously being this year, let's just see where this year was started out from. Started out around about here. Very strong for the year. Okay. So, looking to sell at the moment probably is not the best idea, but looking for a pullback to position yourself to the upside would be the key. So watch 184.00 if we can pull back to that level. All right, Aussie yen. Now this pair at the moment has been monitoring the range, but it's very range bound. As I said on Tuesday, it's stuck between what is weekly support and a weekly resistance. Which way long term is it going to break? Whilst we're clearly respecting the range, today we tried to get down to the bottom and we couldn't quite get there. But I would certainly be watching the 93 level, 93.03 here, weekly support. Because if we come down once more and hold, there's every chance then that we come down. If we start to see this hold and reverse, then we're going to move back up to the top. All right. So until we break out one way or the other, you just have to trade like it's in a range. And when it's in a range, you want to be looking to be a buyer at the bottom and a seller at the top. Okay, in the middle, you see in the middle here, it's been, went down, went up, back down, maybe going back up now. When it's in the middle there, it can get very difficult. So it's this is a pair to be patient with at the moment. Does it get down to the level that you're watching? And do you see a setup that you like to trade? All right. All right, Aussie dollar. Now, Aussie dollar, I'll put this out on Telegram today. Looking for this to maybe trade down to 62.91, the 6,300 kind of area here from this double top. Got the fib drawn across the range, and that's been projected down, and the 200% levels there at 62.91. Now, I said this over the last week now, week and a half, that the more this moves down, the closer it's getting to the bottom at the moment because it's overextended. But you can see that it's been, through the whole period of this movement down, it would move down, it rallied back to broken support, become resistance, move below, rallied back to broken support, becoming resistance, spiked up on the news, became resistance once more. This week, we've broken below what is monthly support, 64.58. So I'll just be watching that level now. If you want to get short, that's the level to watch to be now. Broken support becomes resistance. And again, it's just a patience game. You want to be looking at where the best levels are, where the significant levels have been broken. Broken support becomes new resistance. 64.58 is the level there. So on the 4-hour chart, you could be monitoring the pullback. $79 level, and if we don't go any further down, the 79% level overlaps perfectly pretty much with that 64.58 level. All right, so if we're looking for the opportunity for price to rally back up to that level, you've also got old 4-hour support there. 4-hour support was forming on the monthly level of supports. That all got broken. So that's the level to watch for a reversal back down towards that double top target. Okay, that's what to be watching for at the moment if you want to trade that pair. It's clearly in a downtrend, but you have to be a little bit aware that it is long in the tooth to the downside now, and you want to be getting in tight entries for a reversal, get the risk out quick, and can we keep moving down? All right, getting into New Zealand yen, which at the moment I'm just leaving alone at the moment. You can see exceptionally consolidatory. It's just stuck between, this is a weekly high, 87.30, and day support. All right. So, and of course, Aussie yen's sideways. This is sideways because the dollar yen's moving up strongly, and then the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar moving down strongly. So these two crosses can't go anywhere. All right. So whilst it's like that, I will just leave it alone and look for another pair. All right. Now, New Zealand dollar, here's your double top, triple top, kind of quadruple top. I'm using this high to measure my price projection, draw a fib across the range. 200% level projected below is at 55.85. Got a long way to go to get down there, but it is clearly in a downtrend. That pattern, we've broken the midpoint on the pattern. And you can see over the last 2 trading days that once we broke supports, so this is actually a monthly support level, 59.85. The last 2 trading days, if not 3, have, once we're below that level, have used that level to form the highs of the day. So that would be the level to watch at the moment. If we get any kind of nice retracement, watch 69.84, like I was just showing you on the Aussie, to be resistance to continually move down. We're just trying to trade below daily support here at the moment, but the major level that we move through now is 59.84. So if you move to 4-hour charts, so it's 59. Well, 59.85 is the level. You can see once we move below, I said this on Tuesday, just starting to hold there. And I think I said on Tuesday to watch this to move back up to there. I think I discussed the 79% level. Let's just go and have a look at that from Tuesday. So it's good to review. I drew a fib on Tuesday's webinar from high to low. I said, watch the 79% retracement back up to the resistance level. Trade down from there. Then Wednesday, see how it came all the way back up to the same level on Wednesday. And if you drew a fib across that range, you'll find, I'm sure there's a 79% level here, very close to that resistance level once more. And then we've moved back down. So this market can definitely come back up to that level once more. So draw a fib from that high to low. 79% levels at 59.73, 59.85 is the resistance level. Price can definitely move back up to that level once more, or in that area for a further sell. That's where we're looking, okay? All right. Dollar Canadian has been moving up. I drew that on Tuesday, this imbalance area here. We haven't quite got to the top, but once we get to the top of that imbalance, and it's worth putting that daily resistance level into 135.67. We could see an interim top coming into that level. All right. This is very high up in its move at the moment. So I'm just sitting, watching to see, we're at the 79% level of the range. Are we going to get a final spike up into this area here? We start to see in this area now, we did move a very large Tuesday's range. We've moved above there. Is if we do start to see on the 4-hour chart, a 4-hour structure change, could be where we're topping out for a move back down the range. All right, so it's worth just monitoring the day chart at the moment. Do we see a candlestick rejection pattern up there at the moment, suggesting that, okay, you know, these imbalances, that's where it got formed at the start of the move down. It formed, we traded down to put in the low. We often then come all the way back up to fill the imbalance before then moving all the way back down. All right, there's an imbalance here. Just to prove the point, there we formed an imbalance to trade down. We came all the way back up to fill the imbalance before starting this overall move down once more. All right, so we haven't quite filled this imbalance yet, but you know, if we do, and we start to see a candlestick pattern up there, maybe we can start to get ready for a reversal back down the range. All right, dollar franc. Let's go to the weekly charts. These two lower lines are monthly lows that we've broken below. That was a monthly low we broke below, but we're above it at the moment. And this lower level's another monthly low to the left here. I can go to the monthly chart. There's a low here. There's a low here. So we false broke those levels at the moment. On the weekly chart, we're holding at this weekly low, 88.20. Daily, there is still a little bit of an imbalance here that maybe needs to be just looking really. There's an imbalance, just a little bit of an imbalance still here that maybe needs just to be filled potentially, but it's been held here. This weekly broken support becomes resistance, so it's just holding its uptrend. Very sideways looking. I'll be looking at a better pair at the moment, maybe, because this could just keep creeping up at the moment. You know, looking to short that at the moment, just creeping north. It may just keep creeping at the moment. I'm not seeing a setup there to do. I don't want to be buying here into this weekly resistance level, and I'm not seeing an opportunity to short there at the moment. So just watching that weekly level, 88.20. What does price action do there? Do we start to see a reversal? And then do we see price action giving us an opportunity to trade down maybe from that level? So just keep watching to see what's happening at this level, 88.20 at the moment. Do we start to see a reversal? Dollar yen. Now, this was the level in the week. Early in the week, I said watch for 145.06. That was how I had the fib drawn on Tuesday. And we pulled back to the 62% level later in the day on Tuesday to continue the move up. So that's done and gone. We've moved above the weekly resistance level now. We didn't quite get down to weekly resistance becoming support within a few pips. So on the weekly chart, that's the weekly high that we were pulling back to earlier. All right, on the day chart, we've moved above a daily little area of resistance here, which is just here. And we're continuing up. Now we are actually getting at very high levels where when we were at high levels before, let's move back to the weekly chart. This is where really we started to get some Bank of Japan intervention coming in to drive price down. So we're getting up to those levels where potentially the Bank of Japan is going to be maybe, you know, on the wires, jawboning a little bit that the price is getting too high. And if we don't see stability in the price, we may, you know, come into the market. So it is definitely getting up to those levels where we could see some intervention. But from a pure technical perspective there, the weekly trend is quite clearly up. And your daily trend is quite clearly up. We are up now 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So there's still every possibility that this weekly high that we've moved above, we will pull back to that level to be some form of support. All right, so, you know, I'm not going to be buying a pair when it's 2, what does it say, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe the 9th day up. It needs a pullback within the trend. Look for the pullback to occur. And then look for that intraday reversal turnaround to get yourself in line with the trend. All right, so the clear level to watch at the moment for a pullback, because if the buyers are going to hold this in control, very much like the pound yen, this broken level of weekly resistance should hold as support, 145.06. We've seen it hold there a few pips above on a 4-hour chart. That's a level to watch over the coming trading days. Do we pull back to 145.06 for support for then a continued move up on the pair? All right. All right, last one for tonight, gold. It's been moving down to test the weekly support. So we go to the weekly chart. We've actually traded below it. So the reality is here we have a lower top, lower bottom on the weekly chart now, following that triple top at the top. All right, so from a pure technical trend perspective, this is in the downtrend. All right. There's no question from the weekly chart perspective. From the monthly chart perspective, even though it's a higher top, I would class that as a false break, triple top. So potentially we could be moving all the way down the range here long term, depending on what the market wants to bring. So on the day charts, it's very difficult at the moment to sell because you're sitting right on top of that weekly support level. But quite clear the trend is down. So the question will be over the next couple of trading days. Really now, if you're looking to the short side to trade, you need to see a clear break below 1892. All right, and then you want to see that become resistance. So over the next week, do we see a move further down? Does this become resistance? And that's your trading level to trade down further down the range. All right, I can see an imbalance on gold over here that got formed. That there's still this area here to fill. All right, so that could be where we're targeting down there at the bottom of that imbalance. For the current move down, that's around about the 1838 level. All right, so looking for a break of support clearly, and then a rally back to it to become resistance for a continued move down at the moment. All right, any questions? So some of these pairs need to pull back one way or the other. They're a little bit overextended. Don't have the fear of missing out and get caught. Don't get caught at the top of the dollar yen or the pound yen. Wait for a pullback if you're looking to buy. Now, I wouldn't be looking to sell those pairs because it's quite clear they're in strong trends. So even though it's had maybe 7 or 8 days up, it can have 10 days up before it pulls back, or even 12 days up before it pulls back. But I wouldn't get, have the fear of missing out and buying at the top. But I wouldn't get too excited about selling. Selling something that's in a strong trend is usually a recipe for disaster. So just wait for a setup, wait for a clear pullback on these pairs to a level that you like the look of, and then can you see a setup? Okay. All right, no questions are coming in. I might just wrap up here and just have a quick look at what's coming up next week for the webinar front. So next week from me, getting into the 22nd, we've actually got 3 webinars. Luca's doing one at 6 o'clock. On Tuesday, I've got one at 7 o'clock, forex trading live market analysis. I've got another one with Nathan on the 22nd, 8 o'clock. We're going through the quick start. If you haven't seen that, that's a strategy on the 1-hour chart. If you're looking for a strategy to get going with, it's nice and easy. It's called the quick start because it's easy to get started with that strategy. We'll be going through that at 8 p.m. And then I'll be going through on Wednesday trade setups, a limit order at a support or resistance zone. And then I've got more on the 23rd. We've got the Inner Circle webinar too, where you can get on the mic and chat to us about your trading. And then on the 24th from me, got live forex market review. Okay, so that's what's coming up next week from myself. There's Luca there and Nathan. So just hop over here if you've got the time. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Other than that, as I was just saying, thanks Steve and Slav. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we have some nice weather. Not sure what the weather forecast is for the weekend, but we are almost in summer weather. I'm on the Gold Coast. We were almost in summer weather last weekend. So I'm not quite sure if we're getting quite close to that this weekend, but everybody have a great weekend. As I say, the market's a little bit overextended one way or the other, so just wait for some pullbacks, get your levels in and ready to play. All right, doesn't matter if it takes a couple of days for those levels to work out. All right, and next week, quite low on the news front, so just waiting for a trade to set up at a key level, just looking for a pullback. All right, everybody, so have a great weekend and look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody.